The 5 special war threats of the Bleach universe are the 5 Shinigami who possess a certain quality that the Quincy King Yhwach cannot quantify or control. These 5 individuals are Ichibe Hyosobe for his wisdom, Kisuke Urahara for his intelligence and resourcefulness, Kenpachi Zaraki for his fighting strength, Sosuke Aizen for his limitless Reiatsu, and Ichigo Kurosaki for his latent potential. These 5 Shinigami are the biggest threat to the Vandenreich during the 1000-year Blood War arc due to these qualities. Now, imagine if the world government in One Piece had to create their own list of 5 special threats. Who exactly would make that list? What would the criteria be for the most powerful, secretive, and manipulative organization in the One Piece world to declare someone an unquantifiable danger? Well, in this video, we're going to answer these questions. Before the video starts, I want to quickly mention that if you like any of the content that I post on this channel, consider clicking the subscribe button. It's completely free and you get more One Piece videos. Anyway, let's lay down the ground rules first for what actually makes someone a special threat to the world government. The first criteria for being a special threat is that the individual must possess an ability, a mindset, or a fundamental connection that the world government cannot predict, understand, or control. Even with their vast intelligence networks, cipher poles, and the all-seeing eyes of Imu and the Gorosei. This of course goes beyond a devil fruit ability that they can simply counter or a hockey level they can measure, as it must be unquantifiable. The second criteria is that their mere existence or actions must pose an inherent danger to the world government's carefully constructed narrative over history, their control over information, the Void Century, or the stability of the Celestial Dragon system. They represent a philosophical, ideological, or historical challenge that cannot be simply suppressed with the great military might that the world government possesses. The third criteria is their potential to disrupt the world government's operations. These guys are not just powerful individuals, they are catalysts for widespread change, capable of inspiring rebellion, uncovering forbidden truths, or altering the course of global events in unpredictable ways. And finally, the last criteria is that they cannot be suppressed with conventional means. While they might be targets of marine bounties or admirals, the core of their threat lies in something that conventional military force or assassinations cannot truly neutralize. You can defeat them, but their unique quality would persist or even grow via inherited will or other means. So with those criteria firmly in mind, it's time to dive into the absolute nightmare scenarios for the world government. These are the individuals who keep the Gorosei up at night, the variables that could defy even Imu's mysterious power. First up is of course Monkey D. Dragon, a man who the world government has undoubtedly had at the top of their most wanted list for years, for reasons that transcend a typical criminal. His bounty is already the highest in the series, but that's just a number. His true threat is much more insidious and unquantifiable. Dragon is certainly not a conventional man, as he doesn't seek treasure or territory. His goal is to completely overthrow the world government and the celestial dragons. His unquantifiable aspect is his mastery of ideology and his ability to sow the seeds of rebellion across the globe with his incredible influence. He doesn't fight wars with massive fleets, rather he sparks revolutions from within. His influence is not measured in physical territory but in the hearts and minds of oppressed people worldwide. And as the great Baron Zemo once said, an empire toppled by its enemies can rise again, but one which crumbles from within is gone forever. This is best demonstrated during Bartholomew Kuma's backstory 25 years ago. The Sorbet Kingdom at the time was being ruled by the deplorable King Bakori, a corrupt leader that only seeks for self-benefits. He was universally hated by his people, young or old, and his decision to imprison all the people living in the south led to a great revolution within the kingdom. However, this revolution was only successful due to Dragon and the Revolutionary Army's help. Dragon rallied the people to revolt against their king, and it led to him fleeing the country altogether. This demonstrates the fact that Dragon, much like his son, has the dangerous ability of being able to rally people to his side. The world government can fight armies, they can capture pirates, but how do you fight an idea? How do you quantify the spread of revolutionary thought, the silent whisper of freedom that turns citizens into soldiers? Dragon operates in the shadows, communicating with oppressed nations and leveraging global discontent. His network is vast, decentralized, and incredibly difficult to infiltrate or dismantle entirely. You can arrest a revolutionary, but you cannot arrest the concept of revolution itself once it's taken root. Dragon fundamentally challenges the world government's legitimacy. He exposes their corruption, their injustices, and their lies, not just through direct confrontation, but by empowering the people to see it for themselves. They can't predict where he will next emerge, what hidden oppressive secret he'll expose, or how his revolutionary ideology will incite millions. His entire strategy is built on exploiting the unquantifiable human desire for liberty, making him an invisible, omnipresent, and deeply unquantifiable threat. The second special threat is Nico Robin, a woman who embodies a historical nightmare for the world government. While not a direct combat threat on the level of a Yonko, her unique ability makes her arguably the most existential threat to the world government's entire foundation. Her unquantifiable aspect is her unique ability to read the poneglyphs and her connection to the forbidden history of the Void Century and the ancient weapons. The world government has dedicated untold resources to suppressing this knowledge, eliminating entire islands like Ohara just to keep these secrets buried. Robin is the living embodiment of their greatest failure, the one person who escaped the Buster Call on Ohara with the forbidden knowledge. The world government was so adamant on Robin's elimination that they had a gigantic 79 million berry bounty placed on her head when she was just 8 years old, a testament to the threat that Robin posed. You can put a bounty on her head, send Cypherpole after her, but how do you truly quantify the knowledge she possesses? How do you quantify the truth that, once unleashed, could completely dismantle the world government's legitimacy and reveal their 800-year-long deception? Robin holds the keys to the ancient weapons, not just as abstract concepts but as real dangers capable of reshaping the world. Most importantly though, Robin as a member of the Straw Hat Pirates is protected by an Emperor crew, so the chance of her being potentially eliminated by the world government is close to 0%. Robin is the living antithesis to the world government's historical narrative. They cannot predict what poneglyph she'll find next, what ancient truth she'll uncover, or how that truth will resonate with the world once it's finally revealed. Robin's mere existence is a ticking time bomb, carrying the unquantifiable potential to expose the deepest secrets of the world government and ignite a global reckoning that even the combined forces of the Marines can't suppress. She is the truth they can't bury, the history they can't erase, and that makes her unquantifiably dangerous. The third special threat is Marshall D. Teach, better known as Blackbeard, a man whose very existence defies established rules and brings unpredictable chaos. Yes, he is a Yonko, but his threat goes far beyond just his power or ambition. Blackbeard's unquantifiable aspect lies in his unique and quite frankly strange physiology that allows him to wield multiple devil fruits and his unprecedented understanding of their mechanics. The world government, with all their research and likely Vegapunk's own as well, has always maintained that a single person can only consume one devil fruit. Blackbeard shatters this fundamental rule, and how he does it remains a mystery. This makes him a living, breathing anomaly that defies their scientific understanding. The world government simply can't quantify the limits of his abilities. How many devil fruits can he consume? What other unheard of properties does Blackbeard's body possess that allows this? This lack of understanding makes him terrifyingly unpredictable, and also what makes him an unknown variable in the very system of power that governs the world. In addition, Blackbeard's ambition is not for political control, but for ultimate power through any means necessary, making him a chaotic force. He's willing to sacrifice anyone, even his own crew, exploit any situation, and he aligns with no one but himself. This unpredictable nature, combined with his unique devil fruit mechanics, means that the world government cannot predict his next move, how he'll acquire more power, or what new terrifying combination of abilities he might unleash upon the world. He is a walking, talking paradox that unravels the very rules of their world, an unquantifiable force of nature that they can only react to, never truly predict or control. The penultimate special threat is Dr. Vegapunk, which might surprise some, but his importance and unique danger to the world government are certainly prevalent. The world government has held him as a key asset for decades, but recent events have undeniably transformed him into an unquantifiable threat. Vegapunk's unquantifiable aspect is his unparalleled, groundbreaking scientific genius, and his capacity for rapid, revolutionary innovation that outpaces even the world government's control. It has been stated that Vegapunk's technology alone is centuries ahead of the rest of the world's technology. And just like how Urahara makes the Bleach list for his intelligence, Vegapunk makes this list for the same reason. For years, Vegapunk was the world government's greatest asset, creating weapons like the Pacifista and Seraphim. But the revelations of Egghead, his pursuit of forbidden knowledge about the ancient weapon's energy source, and his inherent curiosity have made him a loose cannon. The world government relied on his intellect, but now that intellect is a weapon against them. They can destroy his labs, capture his satellites, but they cannot erase his mind or prevent the knowledge he's already disseminated from spreading. Vegapunk possesses knowledge that could potentially render their existing military might obsolete, like the ancient weapon energy source, the Mother Flame, or uncover truths that can expose their entire facade. Vegapunk's intellect, once a controlled resource, is now an uncontrollable, self-replicating threat. They cannot quantify the next breakthrough he might have, what scientific concept he might unlock, or what knowledge he's already secretly distributed. He is the architect of the very tools they use for control, and now that architect has gone rogue, his mind a living, breathing database of the world's most dangerous scientific secrets and potentially world-ending technologies. Even if he were captured, the knowledge in his brain and the potential for his research to be weaponized by others make him an unquantifiable threat to the future of warfare and the balance of power. The last special threat, and arguably the most obvious, is of course the main protagonist of the series, Monkey D. Luffy. You might think, well, of course, he's the main protagonist of the series after all, but the world government can quantify his strength. What exactly makes Luffy unquantifiable? Well, it's not just his newfound sun god Nika powers, though that's certainly part of the reason why. Luffy embodies a concept the world government has spent 800 years trying to eradicate, which is of course absolute freedom and the unyielding will of D. Luffy doesn't just fight for his own freedom, he also liberates entire nations. He also doesn't just defeat tyrants, he dismantles the very systems of oppression that the world government often props up. Luffy's unquantifiable aspect is his absolutely ridiculous latent potential, not only as one of the most powerful individuals in the series, but also as the newborn warrior of liberation. Much like how Ichigo makes the Bleach list for his own latent potential as a hybrid of every race, Luffy makes it for his own insane growth rate too. However, Luffy can also bring together his sworn enemies and inspire ordinary citizens to stand up against oppressive regimes, much like his father. This is a fundamental force of nature, a resonance with the desires of the common people that bypasses all world government propaganda and fear. His awakening of the Hito Nami model Nika is also a historical nightmare. Not only is Luffy's Devil Fruit one of, if not the single most powerful fruit in the entire series, but the very concept of this fruit's existence is also something that the world government has tried to hide for 800 years. The world government tried to erase Nika from history, to turn its symbol of liberation into a forgotten myth. Luffy, by being Nika himself, not just wielding his power, but embodying his very spirit of joy and liberation, is an 800-year-old prophecy coming true right under their noses. They cannot quantify a prophecy, nor can they quantify the will of an ancient god seemingly reborn. They can't predict who he'll liberate next, what ancient secrets he'll stumble upon, or how his pure, unadulterated desire for freedom will unravel their carefully constructed order. Luffy's very existence is a living, breathing, unquantifiable threat to the world government's historical narrative and global control. Alright, we've covered the 5 special threats, but there's definitely a few other individuals who are incredibly dangerous, yet perhaps fall just short of the unquantifiable criteria in the world government's eyes. They are certainly major threats, but their danger is more measurable. The first honorable mention is of course Shanks, a man who is undoubtedly one of the most powerful individuals in the world, capable of ending wars and influencing global events. However, his threat is largely quantifiable, being his haki, his crew's strength, and his influence. While mysterious, his actions are still within the realm of what the world government can, at least conceptually, understand and react to. He doesn't inherently defy a fundamental rule or truth in the same way. The next honorable mention is of course Shanks' rival, Dracula Mihawk. Infamously known as the world's strongest swordsman, Mihawk is incredibly powerful and independent, and his threat would most likely be his immense strength. However, Mihawk is largely apolitical, and his power, while great, can be understood and countered by sufficiently strong individuals or forces. Mihawk doesn't represent an existential or unquantifiable threat to the world government's fundamental structure or secrets, much like Shanks. The third honorable mention is the legendary Monkey D. Garp, the hero of the Marines. Garp would have potentially made the list if he was 1. A bit younger, as he has certainly lost a portion of his strength due to his age, and 2. He didn't hesitate to save Ace during the Marineford arc. Garp deciding to not save Ace demonstrates that he is still partially under the world government's control, and would therefore not be a huge threat to them in the future. And even if Garp did turn on them one day, the world government would have more than enough resources to stop him. And finally, the last honorable mention is Princess Shirahoshi of the Ryugu Kingdom. Out of all the honorable mentions here, she is definitely the best candidate for being a special threat, as her unquantifiable aspect would be the fact that she is the living embodiment of the ancient weapon Poseidon, which means she is most likely capable of causing widespread destruction with her ability to command the Sea Kings. The only reason Shirahoshi doesn't make it on the list is simply because her unquantifiable aspect is related to strength, as well as the fact that she is kind of a wimp. Once again, strength is an aspect which the world government can mitigate to a degree. However, an argument can definitely be made for her being a special threat. So, there you have it, my list of the world government's 5 special threats if they adopted Bleach's unique criteria. These aren't just the strongest or the most wanted, these are the individuals who represent something fundamentally unpredictable, something that defies the world government's ability to control, understand, or even fully comprehend. They are the true wildcards, the existential nightmares that threaten to unravel 800 years of carefully constructed lies and power. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click the subscribe and like button, it'll be greatly appreciated, and comment down below what you think. Was there anyone who did and did not deserve to be on the list, and who would your special threats be? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.